Hello everybody, this is Bill Warner again, and now we're going to cover your marketing plan with the final touches on it. We're going to go through lots and lots of possibilities. This is going to feel like a fire hose of information, but it's kind of got to be. And out of it, you're going to need to pick what's right for you based on your understanding of your market and how you need to make your buyer aware that you exist. Let's get on with it. Just as a reminder here, in the 6 steps to success staircase here, we are still in step 4, and we're putting again the final touches down to the plan level, specifics about your marketing plan. That's a key element of your business plan and should appear there when you finish that template. Okay, look, the first thing you got to do is create prospects. Find them. Where the heck are they? And how do I reach them? And there's lots of possibilities for doing that. You need to prospect for prospects. And at the center of your prospecting, the major tool you've got will be your website. And I have waxed on in previous presentations the importance of a website and how well it's got to be done. I'm not going to do that again, but it has to be a website that's sticky enough that keeps people there to find out what the heck you offer. And then you got to give it to them in the form of some action they take to contact you for your services or your products. But let's start at the top. Email outreach is a way to get prospects, email campaigns. And you simply do this by gathering email addresses. You can buy lists. You can go to events and collect business cards. You can run webinars and publish a newsletter off your website, and the price for them reading all that material or observing it is they give you their email address. So there's 3 or 4 ways you get email addresses, but you're going to build this email list up over time to hopefully many, many thousands of people that become your followers, and possibly referral agents to others that should be your followers. The social media outreach, of course, surrounding your website, by whatever social media channel that's appropriate, is essential to your success, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, whatever the channel is that's appropriate for your buyer, that's the one you got to be on. Not something you like, it's got to be what they like and where they follow people and learn about information. Going to events is a key part of it, particularly if you can be a speaker at one, where you can address to 50, 100, 200 people all at once and be clever enough to collect their business cards afterwards so you can add them to your email list. Better yet, you can directly qualify them and follow up with them, and also send them to your website for further information. You've got to work the room if you go to an event. Meet as many people as you can. Don't view it as a party. View it as part of your marketing program, and you're at work at one of these. And you're not there to drink all their beer and eat all their food. Your blog articles are going to be a key part of your website as well. Not only ones you write, but perhaps others that others write as guest bloggers. You're going to post on other people's blogs and drag them back to your website to learn more complimentary information about somebody else's article. Ads are a key part of this as well. Online ads via Facebook, which is probably one of the most attractive approaches these days, but Facebook's got to be the right channel, so don't get trapped there. But you can do Google AdWords, and other forms of ads online. Of course, you got to pay money for these, but they can be very lucrative if done well. So at the center of all this is your website. It's got to be well done, and you got to drag people there and collect information about them so you can qualify them. So this is how you get prospects. The marketing funnel you've seen in previous marketing presentations is basically taking prospects that you have found in the manner I described earlier and creates qualified leads that you can turn over to a salesperson to try to close the sale. Now we're going to wallow around inside the funnel and talk about how awareness is created, how you provide the opportunity for the prospect to evaluate you and decide, I might want to know more here, and then how you convert them to a qualified lead. Let's do that. With respect to creating awareness, letting the prospect know you exist in a way that is going to be effective in actually accomplishing that. There are 6 ways, there are probably a lot more, but there are 6 main ways of creating awareness. Call it content marketing, social media marketing, email marketing, advertising, events, and telemarketing. Let me talk through each one of these. So content marketing has everything to do with what is on your website. Now, we always talk about rich content, but I have to tell you also that the website itself has got to be well designed. It's got to be clean and neat and very focused. Not a hodgepodge of stuff that the human eye can't follow. There's no organization or process you're taking them through. By God, keep it simple. So have basic website content, which is informational, well-ordered, in a logical sequence that most human beings are going to be able to follow. You've got to quickly get across your value proposition. We've talked about that before, but this is done in words very prominently so that the prospect really quickly understands that what you're selling, it may be very valuable to them. You should have rich content in blog articles that are relevant to your industry, that are going to be helpful to the people that are going to be coming to your site. Videos are almost essential. Have them. Spend the time and a little bit of money. Today you can produce a video for a few $100 of equipment and a few hours a week of your time. And then have demos, particularly for products, but demonstrations of how services are provided. And of course, the site itself has got to be optimized for search engines. So prospects are going to be able to find you organically as they do a search. Later on, we'll talk about ads that can accelerate that process. But content marketing is the starting point, and at the heart of the matter is your website, as I said earlier. So social media marketing, once you've got this website up, is, quite frankly, the selection of the right social media channels, and I call them channels, where you post information to drive people back to your website. And you've got to pick the right ones for you. There is no right answer, but there is a right answer with respect to the prospects you're trying to create awareness of. So it could be Facebook or LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, blog posting on other people's blogs and driving them back to your site. And of course, having a great blog on your site as well. So pick the right channel that is the right one to reach your prospects, and have the right messaging inside each of the posts that captures what it is you do and interests them enough to actually click on a hot link you have that sends them where you want them to go, either a landing page or a page within your website. Now, some friends of mine say email marketing is dead. Well, I don't think so. It is an effective way to communicate. It can be done in a very personal way. Spam, is dead. Don't get involved in that. But a well thought out campaign to selected targets where you're directly addressing them in a way that says you've done the research to learn something about them and have taken the time to relate what you see about their business situation and simply appealing to them that you possibly could help, or you have a product that they might need and that could be included in whatever it is that they're doing. So it's a very thoughtful email. They work, particularly if you've met them before at an event or at a trade show or whatever. So it's for selected targets, not for long lists of thousands of people that you just throw it out there in some general way and hope somebody lands on it. That's a less than 1% hit rate. forget it. Intelligently done email, though, with follow-ups and follow-ups with telephone calls, kind of a cohesive, well-thought-out approach to them, where the receiver of the email recognized you spent some time figuring out how to get to know them. That's what's key here. Still on the subject of awareness, advertising. Online advertising is hot as hotcakes. Driving prospects to your content via Facebook ads and Google AdWords and Instagram ads. So this paid form of search will help you get to people. You have to pay for it, of course. These things are not free, where organic search is. But it could be very well spent money. Your hit rate is going to be much greater. But your ads got to be well thought out, just like email is, and any other way you want to communicate to prospects. It's going to have to be attractive enough for them to decide, I want to learn more, and click and wind up on your website, where you tell them all about what you do, and in a short period of time qualify them. Now for events, you got to get over stage fright. Let me tell you that up front. And you can't be bashful. You got to put on the old act of going out there and being able to meet people. So you could attend events, you could be a speaker at an event, you could be a panel member on somebody else's event where you get to speak a short time. But the point is, whatever it is you're going to do, you're going to engage people. So you're ultimately driving these prospects to your content on your website. So you could be running a webinar or a podcast. You could be at a trade show. You could be at a speaking engagement, or just networking events. Go to meetups around town and look on the calendars of other entrepreneurial organizations and see what events they have and go to them. Press releases when you launch your business, or major events that occur in your business, are all ways of driving people to the content on your website. So when you go to these events, though, I often say you're the lion in the room. You're hungry, you want a meal, and I'm looking for prospects, and I'm going to gobble them up and find a way to engage them and ultimately turn them into a qualified lead. You're at work in all of these. Okay, by God, this is awful. Telemarketing. I thought telemarketing was dead, right along with email marketing. Well, it's not. Let me tell you that. It is also an effective way, if done well, in a way that's really thoughtful with respect to the people that you're calling, to drive prospects back to your contact and actually take them all the way to a qualified lead on the phone. It's done from call lists, which you can buy, of course. A well thought out script that has all sorts of considerations for how the conversation may go. You actually execute your qualification criteria by asking them questions to determine, are they qualified to spend any more time on or not? And it's got to be done by trained callers. Now, you could possibly do this yourself, but there are professionals out there that you can engage to actually do this for you. But telemarketing is not dead. It's used quite often and may be appropriate for reaching the buyer that is appropriate for your business. Okay, that covers creating awareness. No education program you go through is going to take you any deeper than this, maybe through the techniques of how you do each one of them. But in terms of what the right ones are for you is something you've got to figure out. I've said this now probably for the 3rd or 13th time, I'm not sure. But you've got to figure it out and prove that it works by actually trying it. The next step inside the funnel here is evaluation, which is establishing credibility. You've driven them to your website, and on the website, or other means by which you can evaluate, or let them evaluate, through things like FAQs on your site, answering questions about your product, A real big one is testimonials. They're going to see that, by golly, they've sold this to other really credible people, and look what they're saying. That's like little nuggets of gold or little pearls scattered all over your website. You want to have several of them prominently displayed all over your website. Have guest posts. You say, oh my God, somebody else of some credibility actually thought enough of this person's company to write a blog on the site. Or someone posted a comment or a like on your posts. You could have videos of interviews where you're being interviewed or your customers are being interviewed. You should find a way that people can review what you're doing on your site and review your services, or more likely you review your product and say, this is a great product. I use it every day, and here's why you should. You should have a place on your site where you can show case studies and have white papers that talk about your industry and the importance of your product and research that's been done, things like that. All sorts of information that would convince a prospect that, my golly, this business is for real. There are people buying this stuff. There are people talking about it, and it's all positive. And I can see the broad picture through these case studies and other information I got on the site. You got to really do this well. It makes your site sticky. Sorry for that term. That means they stay there and read for more than 10 seconds, which is more the average than not. And they want to know more. That's why you want them to evaluate you. The next step is now convert them, finally, after all of this, convert them to a qualified lead so somebody can sell them something. So you can do that through lunch and learns, where you have small groups of people, where you're going over your product or service and answering their questions. You got video conferences, or plain old telephone calls that go through the qualification of them. You could have webinars that present further information, and you have Q&A that take place during the webinar. The telemarketing calls themselves, since you've got them on the phone, you can qualify them right there. And of course, face-to-face meetings where you've got time and it's cost effective, where you sit down with your lead, your prospect, and literally convert them, and perhaps even start the sales process. But one way or another, there's got to be a communication between you or somebody from your company to talk to the prospect and qualify them. So I've used this term all along here called qualified lead, and I've never really explained what the heck I mean. So here it is. You're ultimately trying to figure out whether or not you want to spend any more time with this prospect. And you're going to ask them questions that are going to determine, first of all, that they are the economic buyer. They are in other words, the decision maker, perhaps the person that authorizes the expense and writes the check, whatever term you want to put on economic buyer, but they are the decider. Yes or no? Do they have the problem you're solving? Talk about it. Get them to articulate it. And you can hear them talk about their view of the problem. Or do they want the opportunity you provide by your new innovation, whichever it is? Is their need for either one of these urgent? Or are they just kind of thinking about it and weren't really thinking about it until you brought it up? Do they have the ability to pay for it? And pay for it now, or in the very, very near future? And that you can foresee, after asking them a question about their urgency to buy, is there a clear process to the sale, closing the sale in the very near future? If your prospect answers these 6 questions positively, you got a qualified lead, and it's probably worth your time to spend more energy and the time of a salesperson to actually make a sales call. So now that you understand what a qualified lead is, now you're going to take them through a process of actually qualifying them. And this takes one of the means by which I described a couple of slides ago. You will have made contact with the prospect. In the course of doing that, you will have learned information about them, and they will have learned about information about your product or service. So you've started this relationship before you even picked up the phone and called them. Then you are simply going to start through some of your qualification questions after having established that they have showed interest because they indeed have the problem that you're talking about. So let them articulate that, but then take them through the rest of the questions to make sure that they're really ready to buy in the near future. And ultimately, after the 5, 6, 7 questions you're going to ask them, that you've determined they're qualified as a lead. Qualified means there's a good chance that when a salesperson then now takes them through your product or service, there's at least a 1 in 4, maybe a 1 in 3 chance that they're going to buy. So upon observing they are qualified, you set up a sales meeting. Time and place and who they're going to be talking to by whatever means you're selling. So out of the bottom of the funnel now came the qualified lead, and you've set up a sales meeting. You're not done with lead qualification for that lead. And then go on and do the next one and many, many more thereafter. So there you have it, the deep dive into marketing lead qualification. So the next steps for you are, for in-class and the mentoring session, is discuss your cash budget and your financing strategy, and discuss the work you're doing to complete your business plan with the business plan template that you have, and of course further updates to your elevator pitch for presentation in class. And the next session, you're going to then provide your updated marketing strategy in the marketing strategy template, provide that to your mentor, discuss it in your mentoring session, and of course update your elevator pitch accordingly. Okay, that's the end of this module. Now if you have questions, go ahead and contact your instructor mentor, and your choices for doing that are: you can email your instructor at innovationcenter@faytech.edu. You can make a call at 910-678-8496. And you can schedule a meeting with your mentor in the virtual office on Blackboard. You can also post a question on Question for My Mentor discussion forum and have others participating in the answer to the question. It's a good way of sharing information amongst participants. But please note that you should not post a question that is divulging confidential information that would open up that confidential information to others to read. So be forewarned there. So that's it. Get your homework done. Look forward to talking to you in the next class.